You're listening to Spotlight on Business on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, here's your host, Laura Smith.
Welcome back to the Style File, one of my favorite times of the month to be able to talk all things fashion and clothing and just really feeling good. You know, clothing is interesting because it's kind of like an accessory, but for most of us, it's kind of defines who we think we are.
Absolutely.
How we go out into the world.
Absolutely.
And Stephenson has been speaking for me for the last 5 years that I've been back here. It really has. And everything
I
from...
couldn't think of a better brand ambassador.
Oh, well, thank you. Because, you know, I would like to look a little bit more like your beautiful model daughter when, you know, but, you know, I
ought to be 25 again, huh?
Ought to be 25 again. But everything from bell bottoms to wedding gowns, Stephensons has you covered with the best brands. And so I was so excited to go there 3 times last week for my shopping addiction. And because it was my birthday, I kept using that as an excuse. But there is truly an art form and a science behind retail. I can only imagine. You have to know how in business. I would not know anything about this, but how to price something so that it moves. Because you know the timing of having to bring in, like, you've already just gotten a big fall stock has come in.
Fall is rolling in, yes,
Yeah.
It is. Like it or not, you know, the seasons are changing. And obviously in our business, we've got to be at least a few weeks ahead of the actual seasonal change. So, everything coming in now is fashion forward for fall. So if you're one of those that likes the deep, dark, rich colors and cozy weights of things, then you'll be happy because that's what our floor's starting to look like at Stephensons now. But if I get a frequent question, Laura, and this is for the last 30 years, people say, how do you do this? You go to all the fashion shows and all the stuff we see online and that kind of thing. And the answer is, well, maybe sometimes, although much of that these days is for the media. In fact, in my last few years of doing the buying, I sort of made it a plan. I would go in either the week before or sometimes the week after, quote unquote, fashion week, because there's so much press and media there that they get in your way and it makes it difficult to accomplish what you're trying to do and get where you're trying to go. But we have for years used a buying office in New York, and that is a place that we were able to go and talk to people that are there all the time, their feet on the ground in the garment district of New York, and tell us about, you know, not only just trends, but also maybe new lines and collections that were out that we should go see and that kind of thing. And so we'd go in almost monthly, spend time with them and learn those things, and then go out and sort of look at these suggestions that they may give us and decide if they're for us. You living in New York know all too well that it's easy to get sucked up into that 7th Avenue world of the trend, elite fashion forward. And I, especially as a younger guy, I was into all that. I mean, I was always probably a little bit more fashion forward than your average Midwesterner. So I loved that stuff, but I would have to stop myself and say, okay, now, who am I here for? Our customer. She wants fashion, she wants style, but she doesn't want to be trendy. You know, she wants things that are going to be good closet staples for a long time to come, and stylish, but not trendy. So we always kind of look at things through that lens. And as I joked before, we kind of take that 7th Avenue fashion and filter it down to Elkhart, Indiana. And that just means things that make sense, not things that are going to look outdated in a season or two. So that's always been kind of a fun challenge for us. And I refer to that part of the business as a bit of a young person's sport, because I've now learned firsthand what used to drive me crazy as a younger person is that we do, as we age, we get a little more resistant to change. And I had the pleasure 2 nights ago, my middle son turned 21, and we had a birthday party for him at Michael's Italian restaurant, and also in kind of west downtown Elkhart, 6th and Harrison. Ivan Elio family, a great bunch and good friends of ours, and one of our favorite places in town. Had a birthday party there, and as it happened, there were 20 or so of us, and I was seated next to my dad, and what else are he and I going to talk about eventually but clothing it. And I was telling him, as Lily's planning to go back to New York in a couple of weeks, and I said, you know, I remember early in my career when you just didn't want to go anymore, didn't want to do that. And I remember thinking, wow, I can't imagine. Like, who doesn't want to go to New York and see it all, have a great time, and
buy
pick out
the
great
next
clothes
line.
for the store. And I couldn't wait, and for many, many years, I couldn't wait to get back. And now I've sort of got to that point where I'm like, you know what, this is something more suited for Lily. She's got fresh eyeballs, and she's a forward thinker, but 100% understands our customer and our business. And so I've watched that segue sort of happen for me too, and that's become her gig, and she's doing a great job at it.
She is fantastic. Really, I trust everything she says. She's very honest about it, but I trust her eye too. She's got the gift. Obvious, it just must be in the Reynolds genes or something.
People
no pun
said
intended.
It's a bit of a sixth sense that you just kind of
it
you
must
have to,
be.
and some of it's, I used to joke when I was doing it that we're dart throwers. I mean, because you don't know. We're many times buying 8, 10, even 12 months out. You don't necessarily know what people are going to want or need or gravitating towards. A lot of times, macro world and economic conditions can guide sort of what we are, or spending budgets and tastes. And, there's a lot of theories about fashion trends following the world. A simple way to put that is in difficult economic times, people are going to pare back. They're not going to be buying these, avant-garde, ostentatious thing. They're going to be a little bit more conservative in their styling,
right?
And
depending on what's going on in the world,
is more conservative. So there are these kind of factors. But I would joke that we're dart throwers, but we like to be educated dart throwers, and so we're always looking at what things. This is a daily practice for us. What's selling on the floor? What's doing well? What's the reaction? And as a retailer, if I could give anybody advice to succeed in our business, you got to be there. If you don't want to be married to this thing and there literally on a daily basis, it's probably not the job for you, because you got to be talking to your people, and you have to be talking to your customers about what's working, what's not, learning that kind of thing. And so we take that information and help that to inform us on where we're going in the future and the kinds of things people are going to want, and that type of thing.
You have a great sense of what all that is, because now even with your men's department called 1931, which is the year that Stephensons of Elkhart was born, 93 years ago, 1931, the men's department is phenomenal. But again, what I love about Stephensons is you have something for everyone. So you have something that is highly stylized and fashionable, something you would see in New York. And you have some of that going on here. And then again, you have the stuff that you would expect a lot of guys, just maybe some polo type shirts and golf shirts, and the suits are elegant and, some traditional looking and some a little bit more avant-garde. And you have something for everybody. It really is remarkable in that way. You have in the women's side, you have the designer things that are formal all the way to the very, very daily casual wear that's just so comfortable and so accessible. And again, your prices are always, to me, they're always just right, because you either have a sale going on or you've just priced it right so that nobody feels like they're getting gouged or anything. But I mean, I have a great example of when my niece came with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend is Hungarian, and, from Hungary, and he came into Stephensons. I brought him in there. He went absolutely crazy. Now, he's European, and he saw your collection and he was calling his parents in Budapest from the dressing room, because he found a Karl Lagerfeld, which is like something that I would never have expected to see in Elkhart, Indiana. And there you had somebody who was like, I need this right now. And his mother even said, get another one if they have it. Yeah, because I mean.
And we love stories like that, especially, people coming from outside of Elkhart and first discovering Stephensons is a cool thing. And I've said before, we can't be everything to everybody, but if we can be every part of our customers' lives, then I think we've succeeded. So for you, for example, if maybe you're looking for, in fact, I think I saw you trying on a casual lounge set the other day, something that you're going to enjoy on the weekends and be comfortable, but
I bought two of them. I bought two of them, one in pink and one in blue, and then bought the same exact ones for my really good friend. And we're going to have like a I don't know, like a lounge party.
Yeah.
And we're going to sit in our new outfits. Yeah. And we're going to play cards and have a glass of wine and have a sleepover.
Yeah. So and we could be part of that, but we also want to be part of your most special days too, and hope that people will turn to us when those days come too. So we can't be everything to everybody, but if we can be part of everybody's
absolutely, and
lifestyle,
that is
great.
something I will tell you, if and when it ever happens, because Laura Smith has never been married, but if and when it does happen, I can tell you where I'm getting my wedding gown.
You know where that bridal salon is, and that's a fun time in our stores. Saturdays tend to be sort of bridal day, and just
really?
to hang out on Saturday and watch the bridal parties and the brides. And,
fun.
As I was saying earlier today, being a part of people's most special day is one of the most rewarding parts of our business. But to get back to your pricing thing a little bit, and it's funny you mentioned that a couple of times because it's not something people tend to think about, but we think about it daily. It was something I sort of learned early on in my career, as we were discussing earlier. Retail was changing and the landscape was changing. I started seeing the stuff going on with pricing, and without getting too far into the weeds here, if you remember a number of years ago when the whole JCPenney redo almost killed them. And what you have these large retailers, these department stores that I just call it playing pricing games, where they're putting prices on items that are 3 and 4 times what it really should be, because that they know they have all these coupons and cash, fashion,
incentives,
all the different stuff that you have to track through and use to get the price down to what it actually should be for the garment. We kind of use, I think there was a car dealership that used to do the no bull pricing. That's kind of the way we approach things. And as I was mentioning earlier, I think if we're able to get opportune buys on things, then we take the chance to pass that on to our customer instead of trying to, squeeze that extra dollar of profit out of it. We know by offering you true and actual value, you're going to value that and then come back. So it's more of a long-term approach, I guess. And let's just price things at what they're actually valued at and supposed to be.
I was there the other day when you had gotten in a shipment from New York, and it was still sitting in the middle of it hadn't been put away yet, and I couldn't believe the price. I was like, is this serious? Like, are you seriously going to sell it for, like, it was just priced so beautifully. And I get that feeling, I'm not being taken advantage of here. They just want to, like, support the community. And it just, so I think you've got it down because you've owned the store since 1964. And to me, even since I've moved here, I see it growing in leaps and bounds. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, both personally and just with the merchandise that you carry. You guys know what you're doing, and it's a great experience. It's one of the few experiences left in retail shopping that you can actually experience in Elkhart, Indiana, that may not exist in too many other places.
Yeah, you use the word that I like best, and that's experience. We want your visit to Stephensons not to be a shopping trip. We want it to be an experience, hopefully a positive one. So when we can accomplish that, I think we've succeeded in retail. And post-pandemic has been a great and interesting time. It's been difficult for a lot of retailers. We've found growth in new ways and avenues, so next time we'll talk about that.
I would love to. The great Danny Reynolds from the beautiful family, the Reynolds family, since 1964 at Stephensons of Elkhart, now in its 93rd year and growing and beyond. On Main Street in downtown Elkhart, across from the Vine, you'll see the black and white store. It looks like a package that's been wrapped. It's beautiful. It's signature. I don't think it's ever changed. I think it's always been that way.
Absolutely, yes.
And when you go, you will truly have a wonderful, one-of-a-kind experience there. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Laura. Always fun.
If you missed any part of today's show, log on to 953mnc.com and look for the Spotlight on Business podcast. Be sure to tune in again next Sunday afternoon at 4:30 for Spotlight on Business on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Podcasts by Federated Media.